Hey there. So today I want to share with you some thoughts that have been kind of rattling around in my head, sitting on my heart for a while, because I am obsessed with this book by Abby Wambach called Wolfepack. If you haven't heard of this book, please run. Stop this video, run to your nearest bookstore or go to wherever you download your audiobooks and get this book right now, because this book is so articulately and clearly speaking to the female experience without being negative in any way, sharing her own life experiences, but doing it in a way that is so relatable and makes so much sense. And there's a lot of the book that I'm really like I am high-fiving while I'm reading it. I am loving every bit of it. But there's this one piece that I want to share about today because, as you might know, I lead a team of really incredible, mostly females, but some males, but mostly females. And so because this book speaks to the female experience, I think that's also why it connects so deeply with me. I lead a team of incredible females who are Beachbody coaches. Let's not dance around what we do. We really do connect other people with our tools that get results. No question, hands down. We have the best tools on the planet. We connect people with these tools that get results. And because my team is primarily women, a lot of what this book is talking about really speaks to what I see in them, what I see in me, struggles and challenges that we have that seem to be very specific to women. And, as Abby says in here, some of this might not be our fault, but it is our problem to solve. And so we can again dance around it and say, well, that attitude that's just the way society is, or we can address it and figure out the solution to the problem. So this one piece in here that really struck me is the idea of failure. And I see this all the time in my team, in that we're so afraid to invite people to try these incredible solutions that we know work. We're so afraid to invite people to try this life-changing shake that literally, every coach on my team will say, my life is so different because of this shake. My life is so different because of these fitness programs. My life is so different because of this team. And yet we're so afraid to invite people to join us on this journey because we're so afraid to fail. And Abby shares in this book, and so I'm reading this to you. It's like we're back in kindergarten. I'm reading to you for a moment. Women haven't yet accessed the power of failure. When it comes, we panic, we deny it, or we reject it outright. Worst case scenario, listen to this. Worst case scenario, we view failure as proof that we were always unworthy imposters. Men have been allowed to fail and keep playing forever. Why do we let failure take us out of the game? Listen to that sentence. Why do we let failure take us out of the game? I think that is so powerful because that is a choice. That is a choice that seems to be specific to women, that we're so afraid of failure. And digging into that, why is that? And where did that start? And we're so afraid of failure that we let it take us out of the game. Continuing with the book, imperfect men have been empowered and permitted to run the world since the beginning of time. It's time for imperfect women to grant themselves permission to join them. What I love about this is that it's not bashing men. I am married to a man who I love very much, and it's not bashing men. It's simply acknowledging that women have some different struggles and challenges that we've allowed to hold us back. We've allowed that. We've made that choice. So while it might not be our fault that's culture is sort of like this, it is our problem to solve. It is our choice to make. It is our chance to make a new choice. So why are we letting the idea of failure hold us back? And if you go back to what is so cliche, but so basic, when you were a child, if you have children, when your children are learning to walk and they stand up and they fall down and they stand up and they fall down, if they stand up and fall down the first time, do they then just stop trying to stand up? No, they don't even think that, oh, well, I stood up, but I fell down the first time, so clearly I'm not supposed to be standing up. No, they simply keep trying. So I don't know where it is in our female journey that we decide to stop trying because we might fail, as if that's something wrong or bad. When going back to being children, watching our children, of course they fail, but who's getting to define the word fail? Is standing up and falling back down failure, or is that simply trying? When we live afraid to fail, we don't take risks. We don't bring our entire selves to the table. So we end up failing before we even begin. Because if we don't even try, we're living this little half life. And I can't think of anything worse than that. I think living a half life, living a life hindered by fear, and living a life that you're not stepping into your potential that might help others do the same, I think that's worse than whatever this preconceived notion of failure is. Also, who gets to decide what failure is? You? Someone? Who gets to decide that? I would rather try and continue to try, because you know what that's actually called? Evolution. That's actually called growth. Let's stop worrying, what if I fail? Listen to this, like this is everything. Instead, let's promise ourselves, when I fail, I'll stick around. Let's stop worrying if I fail. So let's take that off the table completely, and let's just say, okay, so when I fail, or when I don't get it right the very first time, which really I think is almost better than fail, because I think fail has such a negative connotation, and I don't understand who gets to define fail. My coaches will say that all the time, well, I'm so afraid I'm going to fail at this business. Who gets to decide what fail is? If you share these products and programs with one person, that's not failure at all. You know what? I guess you know what failure is? Keeping your potential and your possibility locked inside. I guess that is failure. And that comes from not trying. Abby ends this chapter with, the world needs to see women take risks, fail big, and insist on their right to stick around and try again and again and again. A champion never allows short-term failure to take her out of the long-term game. A woman who doesn't give up cannot lose. Listen to that. A woman who doesn't give up cannot lose. My friends, I believe that women are the catalyst and the engine behind change in any community. And when women hold themselves back, that is a choice that we are making. When we say we're afraid, when we don't try because we're afraid to fail, we have defined what failure is, and that is wrong. That's just wrong. Failure really is the not trying. Trying and falling down and trying again, falling down and trying again. That's called growth. That's called evolution. That's called life. So I beg you, first of all, go get this book. And secondly, if there's something in your life that you feel you're called to do, you should be doing, you want to do, and for whatever reason, you're so afraid you're going to fail, I beg you, define what failure is, and then decide who gets to decide if you failed or not. Because if it's you, then decide a different definition of failure. And then third, maybe we just take the word failure out of our vocabulary entirely. And instead we start calling it evolution and growth, because that's what it is. And every time you try and you step into your potential just a little bit more, and you take those little baby steps to stand up and walk just a little bit more, you inspire someone else to do that too. And there's nothing more powerful than a community of women linking arms, standing up together, and inspiring other women to do the same. So go get the book, take failure out of your vocabulary, and let's change the world.